Not uniform, you know, so.
Are you ready, man? We're gonna call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda would be ask for a roll call.
Rick Brewer.
Here.
Bob Edens.
Here.
Keith Gibson.
Here.
Valerie Goins. Ray Jesse.
Here.
John Metz.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have 6 members present constituting a quorum.
Next item on the agenda is approval of our Public Buildings Committee meeting minutes from May 11th, 2020. Motion by Commissioner Thacker. Second by Commissioner Gibson. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Number 4 on the agenda is the Justice Center Sewer Treatment Project update and fencing. Mr. Dean.
Yes.
Holstrom.
Yes.
Here for Von Miller. We recognize him.
Even with the mask?
You can remove your mask.
Okay, thank you. Where we are today is, stopped up here just before the meeting here, and last week we had, contractor had requested a startup out at the facility plus a training, and that did not go as planned. That does occasionally occur in construction. What I typically like to see the contractor do is actually get it started operational, then call that type of a meeting so that we can get all the kinks out. The electrician was running into a few items that they needed to take care of. They finished that today. So we are anticipating a startup sometime this week. In addition to that, we have requested, as part of the plan, for scoping purposes, we kind of showed where a fence would go, but we had indicated on the plans that the fence would be something that was going to be added at a later time, because part of the project itself was trying to keep the costs down, and that was one of the items. In conversation with staff, they're concerned about the potential of vandalism, and we're looking at getting pricing to add a fence. We would use the existing fence that encloses the pond area there. So we would have, in essence, three sides to the fence in order to keep the costs down. We would be looking at placement of a gate also with that.
How soon can we get that fence in place?
The contractor's aware of that. We're looking, as soon as I hear back from the contractor on that, I'll be able to give you an update, but I'm gonna guess within 3 weeks.
What's the cost?
That's my unknown yet. I'm waiting on, I don't wanna give you a budgetary number without having a sense of what it's going to be. I'm going to probably say, if I was going to be put down in a range, probably in that 10 to 15 range, if not, hopefully less than that.
How many feet of fencing are we talking about?
Probably close to 150. I think that's a little high, but I
think that number is a little bit high too, as far as the cost for that much.
I agree. I'm trying to give you a budgetary number to 8 foot. The back part, the existing is 6 foot. It will have 3 strands of wire up on the top. It will have a 12-foot double gate swing gate.
Sir wanted to ask about if there could be some kind of that lacing, I guess, in that chain link where you're not able to see through it.
Sure.
I know it's a little more expensive.
Yeah, we can certainly have that included.
Price of that.
We'll have it priced with and without.
And if we done that, her concern was, would we be able to see the alarm light if we done that?
What we would have to do, there may be a spot where you could, I'm not saying you can't, but I'm going to guess we may have to modify where that light is to raise it. I don't think that would be a big concern at all.
Okay, another question that Sarah had, which Sarah wanted to be here today, but she was not able to be here. She's got personal issues with her husband, but you know, he's having some surgery and things. But anyway, she wanted to know the penalties that would be assessed for the missed deadline, if they would be penalties or whatever.
We'll look at that and make that determination and meet with Sarah and Jim to see how to proceed with that.
Okay, and I think Eric had a question.
My question is for the kind of those at the bottom, not necessarily Mr. Hellstrom, and it was the funding for said fence. If it doesn't come, it's a trade-off for some type of assessed penalties. What is the intent of the committee to fund this fence? Because it is not in the bid specs.
It would have to come out of the capital project.
I don't know if
That's my opinion.
Well, this way I see it, there's only two places it could come from, and it's either the fund balance and capital projects or the fund balance and general fund. Or, you could try to squeeze it out of county buildings, but we would probably need to figure out more of what Sarah's plans were for some of those budgetary lines in there. But ideally, I think you would want to keep the entire project in one place. So it would make the most sense to put it out of general capital projects.
Well, we've still got the handicap projects that we've got to do this year also, so.
Absolutely. Every time we get that balance, we're making that jail roof a little bit farther away as well too. So, although I do think it's the best place, no place is perfect.
Is there any other questions for the engineer?
Why are you 2 months late? Why is it 2 months late?
Some of the components with COVID, they weren't able to get in a timely manner. They had a lot of rain to have to work around. So those are probably the bigger components. I think on the contractor's end, I would say at the beginning, they had a project manager that was overseeing the project, and he is no longer with Sept. So I think there was some misses there.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Dean.
You bet.
If we're gonna set up a place to fund this fence, do you wanna make a motion for the next round of resolutions of where to pull this money from?
If we need to,
I think it'd be best, I mean, if it ends up not being necessary because there's a trade-off with maybe the penalties being compensated with by the fence, then that's great, but if not, then we speed this process up and have a place to pay for said fence.
well, the reason I was saying that seemed like a lot of money. We just had a estimate done on a project at the utility district, and it was more than 150 feet, and it was not near that much money. So, but, you know, but what's the pleasure of the committee about the, you know, if we need to have a motion be in order to recommend that we take the money from, are you in agreement with?
You just want a motion to whether or not it has to come out of it, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have to come out of there unless we need to spend it, but just have it set up, you know, every time we have to get something approved like that, it takes a meeting, you have to watch your resolution deadlines, and he happens to come back with the price the day after resolutions are due, then we're looking at another month down the road, so I just think we can be proactive and get that line set up. If we need it, it's there. If we don't, it's better yet.
If we get the estimate on the fence and maybe some trade-off on the, time frame.
Mhm.
We'll be meeting third Monday, and we couldn't get a resolution in before next month anyway, would we? October meeting, so we should have that information by then.
But the thing about it is, Charlie, we need to recommend to the commission where this money's gonna come from, if we have to have additional monies for the fencing. That's what Eric's saying, right?
Yes, correct.
And that way, maybe we don't have to meet again next month, this committee. You know,
I'll make a resolution to take out capital projects.
General.
motion that we take it out of capital projects by Mr. Edens, is there a second by, who seconded that, I'm sorry, Mr. Gibson.
Can you repeat that motion for me?
Is any discussion on that?
Be taken out of capital projects.
And would you please, give me a cap on that?
I'm gonna say,
If you estimate 15 high, and if we want to go with the high end.
No,
Okay.
Not really, that's
No.
ridiculous
All
amount
right.
of money for.
because I mean,
That's just too much, ain't no way.
that's a lot of money, I mean, if it's gonna be that much money, we need to just go ahead and hire somebody ourselves, because I think we can get it done for,
Well, fair enough.
and maybe not the cover like we were talking about, but just the regular chain link. And I've not seen how far it is or anything, but, you know,
Well, if we like it for,
I think, in running some of the numbers, I think my high was high, I think it will be probably under 10 in that.
I'm thinking that 8 would be a high dollar.
let's make it for 10, and then we can, if it's, we cover it if we need it, but we can do 8. I don't think
Well,
that-
this is my question, and I guess I can ask this question even, we're discussing, if we approve the 10 and it comes back at 9, are we gonna just say, who are we gonna give the authority to go ahead and do that?
Well, not to exceed 10.
not to exceed 10.
Yeah, but
We still,
And if it costs 8,
After 10, can be bid.
Sharp Fence Company, I promise you, will do it cheaper than that. And Dalton Fence Company out of Bean Station do it cheaper than that.
we're the maintenance, we're the public buildings committee. I've got chain link fence up there, I'll give you if you all want to jump in and do it.
yeah,
This is not all.
Motion and a second, is there, are you gonna include an amount on that, Bob? I'm sorry.
I'm gonna say 10, but just to keep us covered, but we don't have to spend that much money. We can,
Not to exceed 10.
not to
Are
exceed.
you willing to second that, Keith? Motion and second, that we appropriate, that's probably the wrong word.
It's fine.
$10,000 toward the fencing, and it's to come out of the capital project money.
Let me ask a question, you want to get, you talking about these other companies, you want to see if you get a bid from these other companies on this?
But see, I don't know that we can do that.
Right now, I have requested three bids, and if you tell me other ones, I will send them the information to those fencing companies to have them provide a bid to the contractor.
Is Sharp Fence one of them, here in Rogersville?
I had given one to McCall myself, the contractor had somebody that they worked with, but I'll get one to Sharp. You have a number for them right now? Yeah, and what was the other company?
Dalton Fence.
Dalton Fence. Okay. I'll give them a call and, get to their emails so we can send them the layout.
Is there any other discussion? If not, Becky, you wanna do a roll call vote on that, please?
Valerie Goins,
Yes.
Ray Jesse,
Yes.
Charlie Thacker,
Yes.
Keith Gibson,
Yes.
Bob Edens,
Yes.
Ray Crew.
Yes.
That number is 423-272-2893 for Sharp.
And you said 673?
423-272-2893.
thank you for being here.
You bet, thank you. Do you need me to say?
I think that probably is it, I guess, unless we, let's see, number 6, maintenance.
I can wait.
Okay. Number 5, courthouse, the steeple windows, Mr. Luke Smith for Woodsmith Customs.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I asked this gentleman to be here today, for everyone's information. The steeple part on the courthouse, the windows, one of them has come completely out and actually hit the ground and stuck in the ground and didn't break. So we're lucky that it didn't break, we're lucky that it didn't hit somebody. But that's a project that we're gonna have to do, ASAP. So she asked this gentleman to come talk to us about that project.
Do you have a cost on about what that would run, you know?
I'm looking at, around $4,500 per sash, that's per circle window. All the windows up there are in disrepair. The one adjacent to the one that the window fell out, the pane fell out of, has got boards kind of screwed to it, and then all of them have pieces that have fallen off, and, I wish we'd have been 10 years ago or something, could have probably repaired the windows, but not now. So you're probably looking at about total, $18,000 for all 4 windows to be completely rebuilt, replicated back to the exact, way that the windows look now.
No glass is broke.
There's one pane that is cracked right now that will probably have to be replaced, and that would be about $40 per window. Now, there's no guarantee if we take the windows out,
You
they may, tons of them may break, but the goal would be to try to do it as meticulous as possible to save all the windows that are there, because we're not gonna be able to really find that exact glass anymore. We can find something that's similar, but talking to the glass companies, best they can figure high end would be $40 per. Right now, at this time, you cannot tell whether or not the jambs that the window sash is in is rotted out. They look good to just be up there. I've been up there, I've taken photos. I've been up there twice to try to make sure on everything, but
You're gonna have to use a skylift.
no, I was going to go that route, but I believe that the best route now would be to just remove the windows from the inside. That cost also would be taking one window out at a time, putting a board in its place with some type of weatherproofing on it while I build the other window, or while I rebuild that window, and then come back and install it. So the only way to do it would be to bring it down through the scuttle hole next to the courthouse room there. Probably just have to be lowered down by a rope, and probably the best practice would be to go ahead and take the glass panes out up in the attic and put them in something secure that I can lower them down. Like I said, the best I can do is about $18,000 on all 4 windows. That does not include if we get in there and the jambs are rotted out. Yes,
That
sir.
much money, that project's gonna have to be bid out.
Yes, sir. That's what Sarah said. She said she was looking for me to probably do the write-up on that. She asked if I'd be willing to do that, and I said I would. And I'm looking to do it for nothing per I get the job. However, if I do not, I would like to be compensated for my time. That would be $350. So, but in order to rebuild the windows, I'm proposing that we use a wood called steeple. It's a mahogany. It's African mahogany. It's got holes in it that will that are decay resistant and bug resistant. I would completely seal the wood in West Systems epoxy with a fiberglass cloth woven into that, just much like a boat building. And then you would have 1 coat of primer and 2 coats of high quality Sherwin-Williams exterior paint. The reason that these windows are in the shape that they're in is because they're not maintainable. No one can get up to them, right now to really do anything to the exterior. You could paint the inside all day you wanted to, but the exterior is not readily available. So, part of this cost is also, creating a window to where we can remove it and it could be repaired, it can be maintained over the years. It can be taken out, painted, and then put back in from inside the steeple. And then that way you wouldn't have to worry about expensive man lifts or whatever to get up there. So.
So there was one question I wanted to ask.
Yes, sir.
Be done from the inside. At a later date, if we had to do anything to it, we wouldn't have to have a sky lift to get up to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's why I would like to try to do this and make it maintainable. What I'm proposing, to build back, I don't think you'd have to maintain it for, the next 8 to 10 years. It's gonna last, but, reality is that paint needs to be maintained every 5 to 10 years at the most. I'm also proposing that we do not put the sashes back in the order that they are in, because right now they're built like a regular sash, which the windows put in, the panes are put in from the outside and then glazed. But the issue is that you can't reach that to do anything to it. So if there was a hailstorm or something like that, now you'd have to remove the window to get it back in. So I'm thinking that it would be easier to just flip that sash around and have the panes where they're put in from the inside. And that way, if there's any bird flew into it or hailstorm or something happened that, you know, the window pane is cracked or damaged, they can be readily replaced quickly.
What thickness is that, 1/4 inch?
The glass? Yes, sir. Correct. And we could move, I mean, I haven't priced it to this, but we could move towards, you know, going with a thicker, you know, tempered glass or double pane tempered glass or something like that. But, I also realize like we're trying to replicate exactly what's there to maintain the historical, features of it, so.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion that we let Mr. Smith, write the specs for this project, and then that way we can let it out for bid?
I so moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Thacker, second by Commissioner Jesse. Is there any discussion on that? Everybody understands that once this is bid out, if he does not get the bid, we'll pay him $350 for writing the specs. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Smith. You can proceed with writing those specs.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
You need me for anything else?
I think that's it.
All right, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is maintenance at the Justice Center sewer treatment. And I guess we need to.
All right. In conversation with Sarah, one of the things that we need to kind of, is the unknown yet, is how much waste is going to be coming out of the auger monster and the screen, and once that's all taken care of. Because what happens if you're up there right now and they have like a plastic bag that as it fills up, you just go up there, cut it, retie it, and drop it down again. And then you take that waste and put it into it can be similar to like your regular residential ones with wheels, or you can, you know, go a little bit bigger. If you have weekly pickup, I'm gonna assume that, you know, your 55 gallon wheeled one, I don't know what size you guys normally have here. Do you have any on wheels?
I couldn't tell you what we've got. I don't live in the city. I don't know. Is that dumpster mayor or what, or sheriff? What's up there for us?
We have our dumpsters like they have right back here.
But it can be done, put into a regular dumpster.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That was one of the major questions.
Yep, it can just go into a regular dumpster, so it could be easily, again, depends on what's coming out of the waste stream is how often that you're gonna have to do it. So if you're losing the sheets and the jumpsuits and all that stuff, one right after another, it may be once a day you're tying the bag and putting a new one on, or it could be 2 to 3 days. What we've indicated is as part of the maintenance program, as you're driving by, somebody is looking at it to make sure that, you're catching it ahead of time so that you're able to put the waste in the bag. And then.
When are we talking about getting the project online started?
While I was sitting in the back, it looks like next week we will have the startup.
So that fence needs to be in place before the start.
And we should have.
Once that thing starts up, there's a potential for somebody to really cause a lot of damage right there. The way I understand it, right? If somebody wanted to go there and throw a crowbar in.
Yes, if somebody wanted to do that, yes. I think most people wouldn't even recognize what it is, nor they probably have an interest in doing that. But again, we're not. You're always designing to the one, to prevent somebody there. If somebody wanted to get inside the fenced area, they're going to get inside the fenced area to create the damage to it.
You wouldn't keep them out if they were your.
Right, that person you're not going to keep out how well you fence it, So, yes, we should probably, if we want to have the fence up in place, we can do that. I'm anticipating having some numbers by tomorrow, and we can have that conversation with the contractor to find out the schedule. With one of the contractors that I had talked to, they were, as of last week, 3 weeks out. So there would be 2 weeks to have that.
I guess, is there any decision that we need to make as far as a committee or a recommendation to the commission about? I'm not understanding completely about.
The waste, the byproduct?
Well, I know that, from what I've been told, somebody's got, it's like you said, they got to gather that garbage bag and it's got to be thrown in the dumpster.
Yes.
Is that the?
That's it, unless the alarm is going on and you have to do some type of method. Because it normally has an auto, if it gets caught for some reason, it has an automatic, it reverses and then starts up again. These are pretty, self-reliant items. Unless you threw something in there that, it won't eat up, and there's not much it won't eat up, so.
But the screen takes care of all that stuff.
Yeah,
the grinder
yeah.
grinds up,
Yeah.
comes out the screen.
So what happens,
That's the waste we gotta get rid of.
Yeah, it's the dried particles, because it'll wash it as it's going up the screen, and all the water is coming out, so you have somewhat of it's going to be moist, but it's not going to be completely dry, that it eventually drops out of the top of the auger into this bag.
But as of right now, you don't know
How much?
it would need to be.
Correct. Because most of your sewer waste is going to get washed. Once it gets grinded, it'll wash, and that's going to be out there. What it's going to pick up is going to be, the bed sheets, all of the stuff that shouldn't be in the waste stream. It's going to pull that out, and it's not going to be constantly coming through there, but it's going to be more periodic. So it's hard for us to tell you as how often will you have to,
Well, you put these in before in other locations. Do you have any projection on where it needs to be done daily, every 3 days, once a week?
What I would initially state is until we have evidence of how much it's going to take, I'm gonna say you're going to want to stop by there in the morning. And then potentially, whatever your rounds are, if your rounds take you by there twice a day.
I know it'll be a trial and error.
Yes.
You learn, about what,
But I'm gonna say that I would think it's going to be maybe once a day, maybe once every 3 days, that you may have to replace the bag.
Does anybody else got anything they want, any questions?
who's gonna be doing that part of it?
Sorry, I can't answer it, George.
How heavy is that bag gonna be?
It will, depending upon, it can be anywhere from, a few pounds to maybe 10, 15 pounds. It's not gonna be. The longer you let it be, the heavier it's going to get. The person Sarah had up there was it Ben? Or that's what his t-shirt had his name on there, I think. Is that correct? That's the person from the maintenance that I saw up there that was going to be part of the training.
I guess my question would be, what happens if, that light goes off and it's on the weekend or something other?
Well, I only have 2 maintenance men, we don't have time to do that. If the sheriff's department's not willing to do it, if our maintenance people and the trustees, then we'll just have to hire somebody. We absolutely don't have time to do that once or twice a day.
You've got a maintenance person or, somebody does cleanup, could check that daily.
Well, what my maintenance does is what the mayor's people that ain't been having time to do for the last 10 years, because it would take 2 or 3 days to get a leak fixed or a light bulb or a lock fixed. So I got one guy doing with inside the jail, and the rest of them, they're out doing stuff. I talked to Sarah Friday. She said that they could drop Ben off, get good.
We don't have time for that.
Well, so if she would get him drop Ben off while she went and get Ben back and come back pick him
No, we
up.
don't have time for that. You got your maintenance man already there
But he's
with
not.
all the trustees, and it's a jail problem.
I know one thing, this committee can't tell nobody to do what they're gonna have to do. I mean, we can recommend, but we don't have no authority to tell
No, we don't have.
anyone that, this is the way it's gonna have to be, so. I
If
mean,
we're going out
I
to
think
hire somebody to do
somebody-
that, then my theory would be, if we had to, wouldn't want to, but if we had to, and the sheriff just got their normal raise plus 5%, plus $1,000 pandemic money, if it comes down to it, turn a resolution in to take whatever it takes to pay someone to do that job from their budget.
That's something we need to work out if we can. That's all I ask, just put your heads together and work it out if you can. And if there's any other questions about this for anybody,
I'd like to ask this one question, not necessarily about that. When they talk about putting a fence, I know it's gonna be inside your grounds, are there any security cameras on beyond that?
It's not actually on my part, it's down the road, on the side of the road, there's no camera.
Okay. I thought it was gonna be actually on your part, okay.
It's down the hill. Next to the
can
farm.
we get one put up?
No, you're out of DVR space.
Do what now?
You're out of DVR space. We'd have to buy another DVR to add another camera.
When it's attached, that fence is gonna be attached to the fence that goes with the
It covers
sheriff's office.
the pond, not
Yeah.
the impact
Not,
pond.
that's something we probably need to talk about, cause there probably needs to be a security camera put up there. I mean, I'm guessing, I don't know, maybe it's.
I wouldn't think you'd have too much the sewer.
You never know what.
You don't never know.
Folks.
Is there any other discussion on this?
Only thing I was gonna say, it sounds like it'd be more feasible to let the sheriff's office take care of it since they're already up there. And possibly they could find a little bit of time in their day to maybe rotate people or something, so that they could do.
Like the mayor said, he's only got 2 people.
Well, and that saves the time of the people from the mayor's office driving up there and driving back, whereas they're already there, so they should.
Yeah, but they've got the courthouse. and the
No, I was
mayor's
talking
office
about
and
the sheriff's
Everything
office.
else.
is already
Churchill,
there.
We can talk about this all day long, but we don't have no authority to, you know, that's something you guys will have to work out. Whatever to decide, you know, bring it before the county commission and we'll, that's the only thing I know. Is any other discussion? Any other business?
It's time to go home. It's time to go home.
You make a motion to adjourn.
I am.
Is there a second? Who second? I think everybody second. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
We're adjourned.
Put on city, Dale.